humanity. Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Welcome to Talking Politics this Friday afternoon, the last Friday of January. I am your host, Robert Press. I write for the Bronx Chronicle, as you can see by my official New York City press card. I also contribute to the Co-op City News and Parkchester Times. The Parkchester Times, like this show, is owned by Muslim media, and the comments of myself, any guest, or any comments that you see coming across the bottom of the screen are that of the person who is writing or saying them, and not necessarily that of Muslim media. So let's quickly get into the weather. Yesterday we had a temperature getting up to 59 degrees. That was 1 degree shy of a record. That was 60. Today, though, the high will be about 49. Tomorrow, Saturday, it should be about 50, with both days a little cloudy, but there should be very little rain, if anything. Sunday, though, the temperature will get into the low 40s, and rain will begin Sunday night, continuing into Monday morning, where the temperature next week will be back into the 30s. On to some political news now. Donald Trump, what is this, United? Okay. And you know what? I may not cover CB11 this week either. So let's get on to the political news. Donald Trump is 2 for 2, having won the New Hampshire primary, winning at 54% to 43%, getting almost 175,000 votes to Nikki Haley's almost 140,000 votes, with over 322,000 votes cast in the Republican primary. In case you haven't heard, Ron DeSantis has dropped out and is supporting Donald Trump. So it is now down to a two-person race, Donald Trump and his challenger, Nikki Haley. On the Democratic side, President Joe Biden received 56%, almost 66,000 votes, to Dean Phillips from Minnesota, close to 20% he received, or about 23,000 votes, with what was called unprocessed write-ins receiving 10%, or almost 12,000 votes, and others receiving about 15,000 votes. There were about, maybe 100 or more write-in candidates, which was a total of 17,000 votes, about 17,000 or over 17,000 votes. And if you remember in 2021, a candidate for mayor, Paperboy Price, well, he's now running for president, and he received 322 votes, or 0.3% of the vote in the New Hampshire primary. Next up, Nevada and the Virgin Islands are technically the next contest on the calendar, but it seems that a quirk in Nevada's selection process and the small number of delegates at stake in the Virgin Island lessen their impact. Nevada is holding dual nominating contest, a state-run primary on February 6th and a party-run caucus on February 8th. Delegates to the GOP convention will be awarded based on the caucus. Haley and Trump are not competing head-to-head. Nikki Haley is on the ballot for the primary, and Donald Trump is there for the caucuses, but not the primary. After that, South Carolina comes into effect on February 24th, where Haley served as governor from 2011 to 2017. But South Carolina is expected to go to Trump, with Michigan's 3 days later on February 27th. Then it's on to Super Tuesday, March 5th. The New York primary is April 2nd. And by then, we should know exactly that it'll be Joe Biden and Donald Trump. The interesting fact, though, in New Hampshire was 322,000 votes were cast for the Republican Party, while only about 110,000 votes were cast for the Democrats. Now, something happened yesterday. The Health and Hospitals Corporation voted to go ahead with the Just Home project at Jacoby Hospital. What that means is they will be sending people currently incarcerated at Rikers Island who either have not gone to trial yet, they have been indicted on serious crimes, felonies, and worse maybe, And that is about 84% of the population at Rikers, and the other 16% are people who have already been tried and convicted and are waiting to go up to prison. However, some of these people are in the infirmary. And what the Health and Hospitals Corporation does is they go and they take care of the people that are in Rikers who need medical assistance. Now, this Just Home project is to take some of those people and put them at Jacobi Hospital. Over at Jacobi Hospital, they will be declared medically cleared. They will not have to go to trial or not go to prison. And they will be given an apartment at Jacobi Hospital, about 410 square feet, a studio apartment. They will be paying about $30 a month, and they will use Jacobi Hospital for their medical needs. This is a moneymaker for the Health and Hospitals Corporation because most of these people will be on Medicaid and they can't afford. They will have free reins of the community. They will be able to go out whenever they want, wherever they want. They'll be able to take the bus to go to other parts. For instance, the BS-12 goes to across the Bronx, and then you could take a bus, the number 1 bus, up to Riverdale. So Eric Dinowitz, be careful. These people might be coming to Riverdale because that's where the rich people live. Now, Assemblyman John Cicaro Jr., who represents the area around Jacobi Hospital, had this to say about what the Just Home project is, and it was called an experiment at one point by the Health and Hospitals Corporation because this has not been done, where you're going to take people who are awaiting trial on serious crimes and release them into the public because they have medical conditions. Now, here is what John Cicaro, Assemblyman Cicaro, had to say. In an unfortunate turn of events, New York City Health and Hospitals Corporation voted unanimously in favor of moving forward with its project Just Home at Jacobi Hospital. The next and final hurdle rests with the New York City Council. I remain hopeful that our City Council member and the Council at large will stand by our community and vote no on Just Home. We must focus our efforts to create housing for our most vulnerable populations, our seniors and veterans. As the cost of living continues to rise and New York City faces an unprecedented housing crisis, I continue to fight vigorously for those who are housing insecure. I implore the New York City Council to seize the moment and take advantage of a real opportunity to make a difference in one of our most underserved communities. I have contacted the City Councilwoman, Christy Maramato, before the show, and she is currently writing up a statement, and she is also talking to other council members and other people to make sure that is a proper statement like John Cicaro just wrote. But the city council statement is going to have to go a little further because she's going to have to try and persuade her fellow city council members to vote with her. And it's possible that she might even go for member deference, which means that I don't want this in my district. And normally the city council will go with the member, but this city council, well, it's mainly a Democratic city council, and you have a Republican city council member who is trying to get the deference if it comes to that. So we'll see what happens down the road. The timeline for the city council is sometime around April. Okay, let's tell you what's happening elsewhere in the state. Marissa Sorensen, who served as the head of Governor Hochul's transition team when she became governor, was tapped as a commissioner of the New York Gaming Commission, despite the fact that her father's clients include some of the businesses before the board. Public records show that. Stuart Sorensen, her father, has long been an active lobbyist and advisor to gaming firms and is currently listed as repping the Swedish internet gaming giant Evolution Malta, which is pushing to legalize online betting in New York. He also his firm, which he founded a public strategy group, Cozen O'Connor, also is listed as a lobbying firm for HBC Saks Fifth Avenue, which is pushing to open up a casino above its flagship Manhattan store. Mobile sports betting launched in New York in 2022 is overseen by the Gaming Commission that includes Commissioner Sorensen, who was placed on the board that June records show. Once one government watchdog said it's inappropriate to put the daughter of a gaming lobbyist on the board that regulates and investigates the industry, including clients or potential clients of her father. This is a head shaker, but this is Planet Albany. Why appoint Sorensen to something directly related to her father's job? There are so many boards and commissions the governor could have appointed her to. Why appoint her to one that raises red flags? It's absurd. Now, on to the December unemployment figures here in New York State. The Bronx has been known as the 62nd borough. What that means that it is last in everything bad and last in everything good and first in everything bad. It has been the leader or the 62nd county as far as it came to unemployment rates. Well, there is good news now, if you want to call it good news. Hamilton County now has the 62nd rating of the worst unemployment at 7.4%. Before you start jumping for joy, the Bronx is now the 61st state as far as unemployment, with its unemployment rate at 6.6%. Now, there are no other counties, none of the other 60 counties in New York State have a unemployment rate above 6%. As far as it goes, the lowest unemployment is in Columbia County at 3.2%. As far as our other four boroughs, the Manhattan comes in at 4.5%, Staten Island 4.6%. The lowest is 4.4% for Staten Island, and Brooklyn is at 5.4%. In other state news, the State Cannabis Control Board abruptly canceled its January meeting Tuesday night, less than 17 hours before it was scheduled to consider proposed homegrown regulations and a slew of retail applications that have been backlogged due to litigation. However, only 3 dispensaries were on the agenda, and OCM is looking to approve licenses which have already applied. Pardon me. They want to approve licenses to businesses that are established. So, in essence, what that means that the illegal cannabis stores that are operating are trying to get a legal license to operate. And that was something that was on the agenda of Community Board 11, where they have a place that was on Williamsbridge Road that was cited, and merchandise was taken out and fines were given, but they have applied for a legal license now. On to our speed cameras. New York City Controller Brad Lander released an audit of the New York City Department of Transportation speed camera program called Speed Cameras Reduce Speeding, Prevent Crashes, and Save Lives, as he says. Unfortunately, a small but rapidly growing number of drivers are illegally driving with their license plates obscured in order to speed without getting caught. Those scofflaws are putting their neighbors and their lives at safety at risk, cheating the city out of over $100 million a year. The problem with this is, though, that City Controller Lander gets driven around by a police detail while he is on duty, and he drives his own car for personal use, and Lander has acknowledged his own history of receiving speed camera violations over the years. This is an issue that I've fallen short on myself, so I know firsthand how important it is to educate the public. He wants the city, in partnership with MTA Tunnels and Bridges, to step up enforcement at the bridges where there are ghost cars. He wants the city council to pass Intro 9978 to increase fines for using fraudulent plates and introduce legislation allowing citizens to report the vehicles with obscured or fraudulent plates in exchange for a portion of the fine paid. And I believe our Bronx City Council person, Oswald Felice, is part of that. He is sponsoring that legislation. And let's move on to something else, the mayor's State of the City address. In his State of the City address, Mayor Adams outlined ambitious plans to establish a Department of sustainable delivery, to support 400,000 green economy jobs, build new housing on public land, expand New York City from climate change. It continues Adams' administration's vision to protect public safety, rebuild economy, and makes New York City more livable. New Yorkers have seen safer streets, but you know what? Mayor Adams Wednesday outlined his vision for working class New Yorkers. But let's start, mentioning public safety and how safe New York City is. But let's stop right here as the mayor wants the city council. He vetoed their intro, 586. But let's look at crime here in the Bronx, okay? Reported crime was up almost 6% in the Bronx. And when we break it down by precinct, comparing 2023 to 2022, crime was up 21.76%. In the 49th precinct, it was up 17.15%. In the 45th precinct, and in the 47th precinct, it was up 10.8%. And the total numbers of crimes in the Bronx in all 12 precincts were 29,676, or 2456 averaged out to each precinct. Now, the precinct with the lowest number of crimes in the Bronx was the 50th, called Hawaii 50, with only 1,563. Now, I'm going to compare this to the 100th and 101st precincts in the Bronx, where the 100th had only 437 crimes in 2023, and the 101st had only 713, or 1,150. If you combine both precincts. There were only 27,599 crimes in the 16 precincts in Queens, which averages out to 1,725 crimes per precinct, only higher than only one Bronx precinct. If we look at Bronx precincts, you will see that the 43rd, the 42nd, the 47th, and the 40th have over 3,000 crimes per police precinct. And as a matter of fact, the 43rd had the most crimes in the Bronx with 3,394, down from 3,565 in 2022. But with that much crime, one can only expect it to go down. When we look at Staten Island, we have 4 police precincts that total a little over 3,700 crimes. Now, is it fair that our Bronx precincts have more crime and the other precincts in other boroughs have less crime? We need to have the mayor and the police commissioner look at the stats, and maybe we need to close some precincts in other boroughs and open up at least 1 or 2 more precincts here in the Bronx. The Bronx, and especially with intro 586A, Bronx precincts are going to be more overworked. And when you look for a police officer, you may hear, well, I had to fill out a little paperwork for this 586A. And Eric Dinowitz, you have the 50th precinct, but you know what? You also cover the 52nd precinct, where crime was up 15.63%. And I see my guest is coming on right now, Mr. Patrick McManus. So if we're not going to go to a commercial, Mr. Producer, can we bring on Mr. Patrick McManus?
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you.
I want to apologize to my guest for running over a little bit, because if you know me, I've talked about the crime stats going back to Bill de Blasio when he was mayor, and I always used to have, when the press conferences happened, I always had questions for Mayor de Blasio about the additional crimes that are committed here in the Bronx compared to the rest of the city. And crime, unfortunately, is one of my key issues here. And let me introduce my guest here, Mr. Patrick McManus. He is the chair of the Bronx Conservative Party. The Bronx Conservative Party did an excellent job in helping elect a new council member on the east side of the Bronx in the 13th Council District, Christy Maramato. Mr. McManus has told me something about what happened in the 77th Assembly District. So let me turn it over to my guest and give you kudos for helping elect a new councilwoman in 13th Council District and what is going on in the 77th Assembly District, Pat.
Well, thank you, Robert. Thank you for having me on again this afternoon. First, I'd like to reference a comment you made in your opening on the Sorensen appointment. You asked why they would appoint her to that commission when there are so many others. Well, the reason is, just as in the 77th, we'll go into, the Democrats elected in Albany right now are used to doing whatever they want with total impunity. And there are no repercussions for their actions. So it comes as second nature to them to make these outlandish appointments because it's done with impunity. As you and I discussed related to that, in the 77th Assembly District, Latoya Joyner stepped down. As party chair, I was closely monitoring the Board of Elections websites and all, and waiting for the governor's proclamation calling for the special election. That announcement never came. It was on Thursday of last week, I received secondhand information that the deadline for filing might possibly be the next day. I thought it impossible, so I immediately contacted my state party chairman, who had no knowledge either. He immediately contacted the state board of elections and was told, oh, yes, that has been called. The governor signed the proclamation on January 12th. However, she held no press conference and there was no press release put out. And the calendar was never sent out by accident. We're going to send you the election calendar now. This action really was just ridiculous. And again, it is because the Democrats in Albany just act with impunity. They do whatever they feel. They don't care about the citizens. They do whatever they can to strengthen their party and care about nothing else.
Okay, I understand that in this year we have the assembly races, state senate, and even Congress. Now, with Congress, there's a redistricting again this year, which may push back the election for Congress. It's up in the air. Petitioning normally will begin on February 27th this year. The redistricting is supposed to be in by February 1st, which is a few days from now. And then if that doesn't happen, the state legislature will draw their own lines. Any comments on the redistricting of the congressional lines?
Well, as happened 2 years ago, we're expecting that there will be an impasse declared by the commission on the February 1st deadline. And the lines are going to go to the legislature. And as they did 2 years ago, I would expect they're going to be severely gerrymandered lines and will face a court challenge. Therefore, I don't believe that the petitioning and the primary for the congressional races will be held on the currently scheduled dates.
Well, I've been told by certain people at the Board of Elections that the primary for Congress will be in August, that they're going to have a presidential primary on the 2nd of April. You'll have your June primary. Then you'll have your August congressional primary, and then your general election in November, plus this special election in the 77th. So they're expecting 5 elections in the Bronx, the Board of Elections. I don't know if you know that or not, but that's what I've been told. Now,
I thought the number might be 3, possibly 4. But it would not surprise me because, again, one of the things that infuriates me about this is in combination with early voting and all of these other options, the cost to the New York State taxpayer to run one primary is astronomical. Now we're multiplying that by possibly 5 this year. And it's a tremendous, tremendous waste of taxpayer money on the Democratic Party and the Democratic establishment here in New York State, just trying to impose their will on the people of New York State.
well, let me just ask you about an election that's really in Westchester, but has part of the Bronx. It's the 16th congressional race.
Yes.
George Latimer, the Westchester County executive, is challenging Jamal Bowman, better known as Fireman Jamal Bowman, for pulling the fire alarm in the Capitol. And the largest, it's AIPAC, has a political action committee, is backing Westchester County Executive George Latimer. Do you, since that's part of the Bronx currently, do you have any choice of a candidate in the 16th yet? And any opinion of Jamal Bowman and George Latimer?
As of this time, no, we do not have any candidate that I know of. But I'll point out, as you said, I think it's less than 5% of that district actually runs into the Bronx. And with the coming redistricting, redrawing of those lines, I'm not even sure the Bronx is going to hold any of that district. So I've been speaking with counterparts in Westchester County, and I am basically deferring to them. And no, I have not heard of any candidates. There was an early candidate, Madeline Brame, whom I'm familiar with, but she has since dropped out of the race. Jamal Bowman, I ran against Jamal Bowman personally in 2020. I think he's a far left socialist. I think many of his actions have shown that he is absolutely unfit to hold office, especially in the United States Congress.
Okay. Speaking of candidates, are you going to be putting up candidates in the assembly races, the Senate races, and who are they right now?
Yes, we are looking to fill as many as possible with quality candidates. As of now, I know for sure we have Kevin Casmino running in the 81st Assembly District. We have Grace Morera running in the 80th Assembly District. We have Gonzalo Duran running in the 15th Congressional. And I believe that's all. And also in the 77th Special, we have Norman McGill running in the 77th Special on our line.
Right.
I believe those are the only confirmed certified candidates at this time.
So if somebody wants to run for office, how would they contact you?
They can contact me through Facebook, through social media. We just recently started the Bronx County Conservative Party. We started Instagram and Twitter or X. I'm personally not too familiar with those other social media outlets. I am solely on Facebook, as well as on my cell phone. My number is area code 914-450-0246. If you would like to run for office, feel free to reach out. My committee will interview you and put you through a vetting process. And if you meet our criteria, we'd be more than happy to support your run.
And don't you have a meeting of the Bronx Conservative Party coming up?
Yes, we have a meeting coming up on February 19th. It will be an open meeting. It will be open to all the public. It will be held at 708 Lighting Avenue on the second floor. I believe it is suite number 201 at 7 p.m. on February 19th.
So
My refreshments will be served.
So if anybody wants to run, they can come to that meeting and speak to you.
If they want to run, they could come. If they just want to come and hear what we have to say and what we're trying to accomplish in the Bronx as a political party, they're welcome to come and just listen in and, even participate in discussion.
And I see my friend, Mr. AJ, one of our commenters, who comments a lot on things. AJ, why don't you come to that meeting? Let Mr. McManus know what district you live in, assembly district, and maybe you want to run against the Democrat there. Okay, and the same thing for my friend, Mr. Ravecchio, who lives in the 78th Assembly District. Anthony, go to the meeting. You live in the 80th, AJ? Okay, one of you then together, AJ, why don't you see Mr. McManus and talk, maybe he'll take you in for the 78th Assembly District. Now,
there's also the issue of this November, there is no residency requirement due to redistricting.
Right.
So if you want to run in a district in which you do not reside, you can do that this year. You would just be required to move into the district if you are elected.
All right. Well, Patrick, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Patrick has replaced Christy Maramato, was supposed to come on the show, but tomorrow is Christy's inauguration. I didn't know that. And hopefully I will have her on in the future. And I want to thank Patrick again for coming on. And I want to thank my viewers for watching. And I'm going to say goodbye. Good luck and get involved. And thank you for watching.
Thank you, Robert.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you.